Penguin Random House Audio presents The New Corporation: How Good Corporations Are Bad for Democracy by Joel Bakan. Read for you by Kevin R. Free. For Rebecca Mayim and Sadie and Paul, with all my love. Introduction. On April 19, 2019, the Business Roundtable, led by J.P. Morgan Chase's Jamie Dimon and composed of more than 200 of America's top CEOs, heralded the dawn of a new age of corporate capitalism. Henceforth, the CEOs proclaimed, the purpose of publicly traded corporations would be to serve the interests not only of shareholders, but also of workers, communities, and the environment. The declaration capped a 2-decade-long trend of corporations claiming to be different, to have changed into caring and conscientious actors, ready to lead the way in solving society's problems. I call it the new corporation movement. And for those within it who occupy the rarefied heights of elite corporate boardrooms, life has been good. For a 20-year run, productivity was up, profits were up, stock prices broke records, innovation seemed boundless, new ways to make money were discovered each day, and the rich kept getting richer. No doubt the coronavirus pandemic has tamped down the rise, and it may be a while before corporations regain their full swagger. But they almost certainly will, especially as governments shower them with bailouts and infusions of cash. Less certain are the fates of the vast majority of people in the United States and around the world whose lives became increasingly precarious as Wall Street soared, and who, as a result, now suffer inordinately from the pandemic. Over the last 2 decades, workers' wages stagnated, inequality spiraled, public services, including health services, were shredded, good jobs and unions disappeared, and people worked harder for less pay and with less security, if they worked at all. Today, half of Americans cannot pay an unexpected $400 bill without selling something or going into debt, and millennials are the first generation in U.S. history to be worse off than their parents. Proper health care and housing are beyond the reach of many, and for the first time, mortality rates in the United States began rising in 2014. Opioids destroy lives and communities, and deaths of despair from suicide and drugs and alcohol are at all-time highs. Growing social division fuels hate and xenophobia, corrodes democracy, and enables the rise of demagogues, while climate change ravages the planet with ever deadlier wildfires, floods, droughts, and hurricanes, heightening the risk of future pandemics, among other things. Despite their claims to be ready to help, the new corporations cannot solve these global ills. But more important than that, and this is my central argument, they are a large part of the reason things have gotten worse so dramatically and quickly over the last 2 decades. Indeed, the publicly traded corporation, hereinafter the corporation, never really changed, at least not fundamentally. It is the same psychopathic institution I diagnosed 20 years ago in a book and a film, both called The Corporation. But it is more charming now, and it uses that new charm to convince us that it's benevolent, that we can drop our guard and let it take control. Casting themselves as good actors, corporations cajole governments to free them from regulations designed to protect public interests and citizens' well-being, claiming they can be trusted to regulate themselves. They take over public services like schools, water systems, and social services provision, saying they will run them better and more efficiently than governments, and they push for tax cuts with promises of jobs and other societal benefits. The result? Governments retreat from governing, corporations take greater control, and we become a society that no longer has corporations, but that is corporate. The reason, I claim, good corporations are bad for democracy. Fortunately, there is a counterforce. Global resistance to corporate power and rule has surged over the last decade, an antidote to both the false hope of the new corporation and the growing sense of hopelessness pervasive in society. More and more, through rising protest and political action, people refuse to accept the hollowing out of democracy and the severe threat corporations pose to people and planet. It may be that the coronavirus pandemic is weakening corporations' hold on society as it lays bare the injustices and inadequacies of the current system and fosters newly robust senses of community and democracy. That's cause for hope, no matter the many reasons for despair. Chapter 1. The New Corporation. It's a cold January night in Davos, high up in the Swiss Alps. Snow falls hard as Bebop Gresta, chair of Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, runs quickly down the town's main street, dancing nimbly among icy patches, trying not to slip and fall. Tuxedo-clad and straining to see through fogged-up designer glasses, the 40-something entrepreneur is late for a party being hosted by J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon and former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Rumor has it Al Gore will be at the party. He is. And Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will show up. He doesn't. The usual coterie of business titans, high-tech entrepreneurs, and government and non-governmental organization, NGO, officials will be there, networking boozily through the night, aglow with their own good fortune, champagne flowing and music booming. Welcome to Davos, the usually sleepy alpine village that transforms into a party hub for the global elite each January when the World Economic Forum, WEF, comes to town. Davos is a great occasion to meet a lot of the big players, says Gresta, a former Italian pop star. I had 20 big hits, all terrible. It was the 90s, he jokes. Turned high-tech entrepreneur. Now head of the company developing Elon Musk's idea of a Hyperloop, a trackless train that travels through a tube at speeds of up to 800 miles an hour, levitated and propelled by vacuums, magnets, and solar power, he's in Davos looking for financial backers. Dimon has agreed to meet him at the party. I promised to be there early to be received by him and by Tony Blair, he says, but in Davos, you're always late. There's always something happening, and you're trying to make the best of the time that you have. His previous meeting with celebrity rapper Akon had run late. Then he lost valuable time changing into his tux. To be recognized as credible, you actually have to dress in a certain way, he told me. And now his stylishly pointy shoes, which have no grip on the icy sidewalk, are slowing him down. Also on her way to Dimon's party is Sandra Navidi, a New York consultant and author. As a Davos regular, Navidi doesn't even attempt stylish footwear on the ice-covered streets. Instead, she's wearing distinctly unfashionable snow boots, with pumps tucked away in an oversized purse, ready to navigate among the several parties she'll attend over the course of the evening. Well known and liked in Davos, despite her gentle jabs at some of its elite attendees in her book, Super Hubs, How the Financial Elite and Their Networks Rule Our World, Navidi sees the annual gathering as an opportunity to connect with people who have the power to change things and to get a sense of how they think and how they feel. She's looking forward to the usual networking and schmoozing at the party, and also to saying hello to her friend Jamie Dimon, who, she says, has a preeminent position among the titans of the financial industry. He's sort of their unofficial ambassador in Washington. When Navidi sees Dimon at the party, they share a hug and double-cheeked kiss. Gresta, who has arrived at the party slightly late, though intact, waits for the right moment and then approaches Dimon, who greets him warmly before chiding him about his formal attire. The two talk for several minutes, a quick meeting, but Gresta tells me afterward, a good one. Dimon seems open to working with him, says Gresta, who is excited at the prospect, in part because of Dimon's commitment to sustainability and societal improvement at J.P. Morgan Chase. For Gresta, sustainability and improving society are central concerns, the reasons he was originally drawn to the Hyperloop, which he says is sustainable, fueled by renewable energy and potentially creating more energy than it consumes, and also improves society by allowing people to connect across long distances faster. For these reasons, Gresta believes, Hyperloop Transportation Technologies represents a new generation of companies that will
Sample complete. Ready to continue?